Matt Slack is a talented actor, comedian, panto star, musical star who started out as a postman, then a comedy act, and it was his first-class delivery that stood out. As a comedian, not as a postman, but there is an intentional gag there if you're willing to find it. I digress. Matt has appeared in soaps, movies, musicals, summer shows, and stars in the biggest pantomime in the UK at the Birmingham Hippodrome, and he's made his name doing what he loves. He found a path that suits his passion, and he just runs with it. Matt and I have a 20-year gap from when we last worked together, mainly because he changed his path. And for him, it changed for the better. I'm in Panto myself this Christmas in 2021, but when I've closed my season, I'll be taking my family up to Birmingham to see the man at work, to see him shine, and I'm really looking forward to it. Matt always had that charisma and something special back in Torquay when we shared a dressing room, and it was from that season that his life changed, and you get to hear that during our catch-up. We talked about the moment Bruce Forsyth filmed his freelance documentary on his career when he started at Babbacombe Theatre and the Eastbourne Hippodrome Theatre, coincidentally, where I started my professional career in 2000 and 2001. So back in 2001 at Babbacombe Theatre, where Bruce Forsyth made an appearance in our summer show to the delight of our unexpected audience, and 6 years later I was at the BBC studios in Wood Lane filming a TV pilot with Brucey, and this spot went really well. It was hosted by Mr. Forsyth, a fellow water rat, and Vernon Kay, and starred Denise Van Outen and John Coleshaw. The show was called Saturday Night Showdown. It was to be competition for Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway on ITV, and it was a variety cum game show, and on this pilot, 2 variety acts got to perform, and the audience got to vote for the best act on the night, to earn points for the 2 presenters' teams. Vernon's team had a magician supporting him, and I was supporting Brucey with Arthur Lager. And here's the moment he brings me on.
Thanks, Vernon. That was a very, very good choice. But now it's time to introduce the variety performance you've all been waiting for. I don't know about you, but do you ever talk to yourself? I do it all the time, don't I, Bruce? Yes, I do. But here's a man who does it very successfully, and he does it for a living. Representing me and my hockey team, please welcome on stage, Steve Hewlett.
Steve, I do a mixture of comedy and ventriloquism, so if you don't find anything funny, that's ventriloquism, what I'm doing. That was comedy. Please welcome Arthur. Come on, Arthur. Arthur, we're here for a special reason tonight. I want you to tell the audience why we're here. Cash! No, Arthur, it's a special reason. I was talking to Denise Van Outen backstage. You were talking to Denise. What did she say? No.
It was a great night out, brilliant experience for me, but it stopped there. The pilot got shelved. That's show business. We learn every day in our world. So I really enjoyed catching up with Matt early 2021. So welcome to Eyes and Teeth, Funny for Money, the brilliant Matt Slack. This is a very special guest for me. We go back years, and I can't believe I'm at that age where I can say that, but we do literally go back years, 2 decades actually. So I'd like to welcome to Eyes and Teeth, the wonderful Mr. Matt Slack. Hello, sir.
Hello, Steve Hewlett. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's been 20 years, mate, since we worked together. Was it something I said?
God, yeah. Has it been 20 years, really?
It was 2001, wasn't it? So,
2001?
Yeah, I know. It blows your mind.
Oh, God.
So,
at the Babbacombe Theatre?
Babbacombe, it was such a memorable season. And it was a proper seaside special, wasn't it? It was true variety show for Colin Matthews. And
it was great, mate, wasn't it? It was. I think it was my second sort of season at the Babbacombe Theatre.
Right.
I'd done the one before. Well, I'd done a couple before. The first 2 years before, I did a one-off, once a week show with the kids. I think that was called The Time of Our Lives.
Oh yes.
Which was that was really good with a lot of young talent. A few of them gone on to do some great things.
Yeah, amazing.
And then I did the full season the following year. Paul Berlin was there.
Oh yes.
You know Paul.
Yeah.
And then the following year, back, and then it was with you and a few others, and it was a brilliant show, wasn't it? We had such a good time.
It's such a wonderful place, Babbacombe and Torquay. So I mean, it's the only time I've lived there for a whole season, and it was my second professional season. We had Ren Leah, the lovely Lisa and Steve, Gary Richards, and you got an eyeful of Gary in one of the sketches, didn't you? I actually remember that. I never did. I never saw it, but there was this dressing gown scene we had to do, and I know that he was giving you a surprise every time we done the scene, but that's for your eyes only. I think. I'm sorry I brought that back.
I was a bit deflated, to be honest. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit more from Gary, but no, it was great. It was the old Chapel Bells routine, which I've done since with the pots and pans. That sort of pops up every now and again in Panto.
Okay.
But we had such a good time there, and the Babbacombe Theatre. It's I talk about it a lot with real affection because it started so many careers, and so many careers have blossomed and gone on because of being able to perform a theatre such as that. Do you remember Bruce Forsyth? Dear old Bruce came down, didn't he?
Well, during the Babbacombe season,
I remember it so well. In my little office bit, I've got a picture of me and Bruce on stage. And,
it's brilliant.
I'll never forget it. When he came down, we spent all day, and for me in particular, and for everyone, yourself, but for me in particular, because I'm a young comic, just about sort of on this journey of a career. And to have him stood there, and he came in and went, right, what I'll do is I'll come on. I went, no, you won't. I said, I'll do my opening spot because it's really good. I've got it nice and tight. And then at the end of it, I'll say, I'll do an impression as well. I'll do an impression of Bruce Forsyth. And I did it. I said, I'll walk off and I'll come back on as Bruce Forsyth. And you remember, I walked on. And Bruce walked on, and the audience were like that.
They had no idea.
Silence.
Oh, mate, it was so magical.
It was epic at the time, and I remember at the end of it, he said, "You're not here to see me. Here's the man you are here to see. I'm the new president of that track." And he walked off, and I walked back on, and then we had a little moment. Very, very special, unique time, mate, and wants to be cherished.
It was fantastic. That was the day me and Nina got engaged. I just woke up woke up that morning, ran into town while she was still in bed, come back, and I proposed to her, and then Brucey turned up to rehearsal of the show, and then all that happened, and it was just so special. But just standing in the wings,
It was because you got engaged that Bruce came down. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. No, I just
came down to say congratulations, well done.
It just made it even more special. Do you know what I mean? That it was a spare of the moment thing. But
also that year, my daughter was born. My daughter Molly Ann.
Yes, I watched the birth. I remember. I think she's mine.
I think I was there. I think I was involved.
I think you showed us a video or something, and it was a very poignant daddy video the day your daughter was born. It was incredibly emotional, really. But you could see how proud you were, mate. It was so nice.
Yeah, it was. So that year, mate, was full of so many life-changing experiences. And also, you lived in my mum and dad's
annex.
Granny annex.
Because you came round a few times. But we looked after their cat. I mean, it was that your mum and dad was so adorable. They really looked after us, and they were like my uncle and auntie really that season. They're lovely, lovely people. And so
they still speak fondly of you, mate. They always say, and I said I haven't seen Steve and Nina for donkey's years. So it's like you say, mate, it's nice to catch up. And in actual fact, that flat, unfortunately, I went through a divorce. And I ended up moving into that flat.
Did you?
And I did it all up. And I had a great time. It got me through a pretty tough time.
Yeah, I'd have tidied up if I'd have known.
You left a bit of a mark in the toilet. It took me ages to scrape it off.
That was Nina. That was me.
Ice and Teeth.
I also remember that season. I think it was John Conway from Qdos, and we knew Qdos were coming down to visit the show, and they had in mind to see Matt Slack. And I think from that, Qdos took you away, didn't they? And that's, I think, where your career started to change.
It did, mate. Yeah, I mean, Nick Thomas, and it was actually down to and John Conway and my agent back then, Phil Dale.
Yes.
Who looks after quite a lot of people, and I'm still friends with Phil, not with him anymore. But they came along for the day, and they weren't going to come, but it was actually Joe Pasquale, who I know you know, and everyone knows Joe.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Joe. He's a wonderful man. He's that they weren't going to come to see Joe for some reason somewhere else. Anyway, he said, "Come and see me I'm in Torquay." So they went down to Torquay, and he said, "While you're down here, go along and see Matt at the Babbacombe Theatre."
Nice.
And they were reluctant to at first, but then they did, and the rest, mate, is history. And they've been a massive Qdos, Nick Thomas, John Conway, and now Michael Harrison. Have been a massive part of my career. As you know now, with the Birmingham Hippodrome sort of legacy that I've got going on, or did have going on till the lockdown. Yeah. It's been a huge success. And who'd have thought it just from that little visit and pantomime, and that's alongside everything else, the other stuff, the bits and bobs that I do. But pantomime is a massive part of my career. So I'm very grateful for them. I'm very grateful to Joe.
Yeah, bless Joe. He's a good man. And I think Qdos saw that in you. I think they saw that special thing which Bradley Walsh, Joe Pasquale, Bobby Davro, Brian Connolly, Alan Stewart, all those people have. And they see that in you. And I saw that in you in that season. I thought, this guy's got... You're a one-man show, you know. You do impressions, singing, you can dance, you can act, and you're very, very naturally funny. So I think that's what they want in a package, isn't it? And that's what you bring to Panto.
Yeah, thank you, mate. And that's a very nice compliment. That's really, really nice. And I suppose, that is kind of it. Back in the day, I was a combination, an amalgamation of so many different people that, you had your Brian Conleys, your Barrymores, your Bruces, your Russ Abbotts and all that kind of, like you say, Bradley Walsh's and Shane Ritchie as well.
Yeah.
And I was sort of a pinch of all of them rolled up into one. So they were very excited when they sort of discovered me, as was I.
Yeah.
But the problem with that kind of era, and John Conway said to me at the time, he said, and I still give in touch with John every now and again, and I've got a lot of admiration for John, a lot of respect. He said to me at the time, had this been 10 years previous, we would be discussing my TV show.
Yeah.
Because I think it was just at the last time I met, at the end of a kind of era, the end of that kind of light entertainment, this to say, the Bradley Walshes, even though Bradley's doing brilliant and booming, as is Brian. Brian's been announced to be a regular in EastEnders now.
Yeah.
And I've met all these guys since, and I've had them come and see me work, and it's really nice to beat your peers and all that. But I think that generation sort of was just coming to an end. I'll diverse then, but it was just coming to an end.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I went to Blackpool, the Grand Theatre, alongside Bobby and Tommy Cannonball. Bless him. But I was so sad when I had the news about Bobby.
Awful, man.
We did a summer season up there, and we had such a good time. I love them too. I love that man. What a comedy hero he was. What I learned from Bobby Ball. Anyway,
that's amazing.
We were up there, and John Conway had got the Royal Variety involved to come and see me. It was Nigel Hall at the time, who works now for Psycho and Simon Cowell.
Okay.
And he came to see me for Family Fortunes, and I had all these things and all these wonderful reviews and all that, but it never quite happened. I don't know why, but I never sort of got that lucky break, as people say. They always say, "Oh, why did you do that?" I said, "Well, it never quite happened." So I thought that's why I sort of took a turn and went into the musical theatre thing. Kept the Panto going all the way along, and that's been hugely successful. But I sort of made the swift move. That's where it happened.
Okay, so where was the first move? Was it Boogie Nights? Is that the first musical that you went into?
Yeah, a lot of people get confused. They think, they say, oh, were you in that film with the bloke with the big nose? No, that was definitely not me. No, I'll ask my wife.
You was the thing in his pants. Did you do that Tom Jones gag, isn't it?
It was Boogie Nights, 70s musical. John Conway said to me, which was nice because I didn't have to go for a casting or an audition like I do now.
Yeah.
For things, he just said, I'd like you to go into it. So I went in as Dean, the DJ, and the understudy of the lead. And at the time, Shane Ritchie had finished the show, done what he could, and then Sam Kane took over. Sam Kane, who's married to Linda Sardi.
Yeah.
I know Sam.
Sounds great.
Sam from before, from Pontin's days. And I was very close mates with Sam. To cut a long story short, I eventually took over from Sam Kane as the lead, and it was just a different world to me. And I just thought, you're part of the company again. It's like Panto. It's so nice to be able to work alongside other people.
Yeah. And
I just thought, once I made that move in the musical theatre, and I just thought, I really like this, and I'd always wanted deep down, I'd always wanted to be an actor. I knew I was a comedian, and I knew I had an ability to make people laugh. And I've honed that over the years, and I've used that to the best of my abilities, and I've been very successful at it, and I've made a very good career out of it. However, when there's more layers to someone, and you know that, you've got to be true to yourself, and that's when I sort of, it was a kind of epiphany of thinking, this is what I want to do, and I want more. I knew I could get the laughs, but the scenes that were a bit of drama, I wanted more of that, and it sort of put me on a different path. And that's where it all started with Boogie Nights.
Oh, contributional.
Can I take you back to when Matt Slack started out as a blue coat? Pontins in 1993, wasn't it? So
it was, mate, yeah.
What made you want to be a blue coat? Was it the comedy?
Well, I'll tell you what it was, mate. It was a combination of things. I was a postman at the time. Just before previous, I wasn't a very good postman. I was renowned for it. I used to, work behind the bar as well. Later, so working late behind the bar and then having to get up at like 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I was a bit of a lad, and I was quite popular in the post office. But I wouldn't turn up on Saturday mornings. I'd phone in sick because I was hungover and things like this. And I was a bit of a boy. I was a bit of a lad. I was just discovering myself. It was, and I just thought, I'm not meant to be doing this. And I knew. And I used to deliver the mail to Torquay Chalets, which at the time was Pontin's in Torquay. And I used to look through the window, and I was fascinated. I could see him rehearsing, and I was just fascinated. And when I got the sack from the post office, ironically, I was having a chat with a mate at a bar. I was having a bad time. I was, having a little bit of a mini breakdown, thinking, what am I doing? I've just been a postman for 6 years, a secure job as it was at the time. Yeah. What am I going to do? And I mentioned the Pontin's blue coat. I said, I've always fancied that. And he said, you'd be great at that. He said, I know the Ents manager at blah, blah, blah. He set up a meeting, and the rest was history. They sent me off to Jersey, Clermont Bay, and I've not looked back since.
Oh, amazing! And then you started to build an act. Really, I guess you were you watching acts as comedians that would come in. You build your own act.
Yeah, it was at first, man. I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I remember Scott Page. He's a very brilliant entertainer in his own right. He was the Ents manager at the time, and he said to me, it was very raw. He said, what you got is a very raw talent. But he saw something, and he said, we've got to get you up on stage, and he pushed me first and foremost to sort of get up and do a little bit here and there. So I do the shows, and I'd host something, and it was very raw. Looking back, it was awful, but everybody has to start somewhere. That's where you cut your teeth. That's where you find your style, and I was very much like influenced by Brian Connolly at the time, Barrymore, and I used to stand up. I've been making the whole room laugh without a mic, just by physically mucking around, and it was a revelation. It was like, I remember thinking, I'm getting paid for this, and I would do it for free, and that's something that I obviously keep that quiet. I don't tell the producers about that.
Of course.
They go, you said you do it for free. No. Back then I would have done it for free, and I've done things, in order to get on. I've done it very cheap, but and now
you reap the benefits. But because that's when it becomes a passion.
It was a real this is it. And I remember thinking, right, I'm on the right track now.
Yeah.
I've got my vocation, and I know where I want to go. And I wanted TV. I wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Barrymores, the Connollys, the Bruce Forsyth. And I wanted to do it all, and that's how it all started for me, mate.
Oh, amazing. Then you became Ents manager 2 years later, and then you became Entertainer of the Year in Pontins. So you got your first award, which is nice.
Yeah, I got award again. Callum Rice, who was known as Spike, he was the Ents manager, and he was another one who instigated. He said, "You've got to get on stage." Pushed me to do an act, which I did. So I won that award for Pontins, and I did Stairway to the Stars in Torquay, which at the time was a big sort of national talent show with Nina Mishkov as one of the judges, and I won that, and then broke out onto the Holiday Park circuit, and one thing led to another. Then I went up to the Midlands and did all the clubs and all that. And I didn't really have an act, but it just sort of built and built and built. I just sort of got on with it and did it for so long that it just sort of progressed. And then, again, that brings us to the theatre.
Yeah.
As soon as I went to the theatre, I just thought, well, I don't want to work anywhere else. Once you've had a taste of an audience coming in that are paid, rather than a holiday park audience, which, as you know, it can be. It's a real, random kind of. You can have a lot of noise going on, and I started to resent it in the end after lots of years going around doing the parks and all that. I just thought this isn't for me. So the theatre was really solid. You could do a really clean act, so to speak, and keep it really professional and tight, which is what I do now.
And they can listen to you, yeah.
And you get spoiled, don't you? So I think that was a real turning point for me.
Oh, amazing. So you went onto the cruise ships, and then you started to do the theatre tours. So with Bradley Walsh, 3 Degrees. So that's what I like you say with the theatre work.
Yeah, you must be reading a really old bio of mine. Yeah, I have.
I've gone quite back, yeah.
Yeah, I did quite a bit, mate. I went around, like I said, after doing Blackpool, I went and supported Bradley. I did it once for Brad, and we met and got on. And the last time I saw him was I was doing Casualty. I was a guest lead on Casualty in 2018, I think it was. And I met him in Cardiff. He was BBC Cardiff. He was filming Doctor Who, and I bumped into him in the green room. I went, "Hello, Brad." He was Snaggy. And it's a small world.
Yeah, this business is.
But I did lots of different things, mate. But again, as soon as I got to the point of when I did Boogie Nights, that's when my sort of mentality changed about being an actor, and I just thought it comes a point where I'm going to stop being an act. And inevitably, that led me on to Blood Brothers.
It's amazing. It's amazing to actually, something you've built up over the years and think, right, I'm going to move on and drop the act. And then Blood Brothers did come along, and you've done the UK tour, which is incredible. It's such a wonderful musical, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, mate. When I saw it, I was gigging at the time, doing all the, and I saw it down in Torquay at the Pavilion Theatre, and it just absolutely blew me away. And I said to my wife at the time, I said, that's it, I want to be in that. That's what I want to do. And 6 months later, I was in it. And for a non-trained actor, for a comedian who's come up from the ranks of being a blue coat and this and that, a raw kind of talent, was unheard of. You just don't do that. But what happened was I was doing Panto. Again, this is why a lot of people, back in the day, they used to diss Panto. It's like, and I get really cross with people that say, I said, "Oh, don't you dare slag off Panto. It's not only, it's only Panto. It's only the thing that keeps theatres alive. It's only the thing that, the shows that I'm involved in, I'm very proud of. It's like, it's bang up to date. It's not old cheesy old naff. Some of it can be, but not the ones we do."
No, mate, so, they're incredible things these days.
I'm diverting, sorry, but
no, it's fine.
It was because of the Panto that the producer at the time, Julius Green, for Bill Kenwright, his girlfriend was in the show, Peter Pan. She was the mermaid and Mrs. Darling. And I said to her, I read a bio. I said, "Oh, you're in Blood Brothers." I've just seen that. I said, "It's fantastic." She said, "Oh, my partner's one of the producers. He's coming on Monday," or blah, blah, blah. Anyway, came to see the show. Loved what I did. Became a bit of a fan. Got me a casting. I went for the casting on the Friday. Finished Panto on the Sunday and started rehearsals on the Monday.
Blimey.
The Blood Brothers. And I stayed at Steve McFadden. Phil Mitchell. I stayed at Steve's house for rehearsals because I was still living in Devon. So that's how quick it changes, and that's how quick it can change in this industry. It's, from one moment you're doing this, next minute, you're doing this brilliant, timeless kind of musical. And I'm stood there with some absolutely incredible actors. It's a million miles away from my world. I've just done a summer season at Blackpool. Financially, what they get paid was like, what? I'm like, hang on, I'd get that for doing 5 minutes. So it was a bit of a kick in the balls financially, but that didn't bother me at the time. I wanted to be true to myself, and I wanted to be part of this fantastic play/musical.
You grabbed it by the horns, and then you and obviously you're into acting now, and you wanted to get into movies. Obviously, that's the goal, isn't it? But you did do a movie in 2008 with Joss Stone.
Yeah, mate, well, that one was. I think you're talking about
Snappers.
That never got released. So that was a project I was involved in Torquay actually with Joss, and there was a big cut. It never got released. It's a bit of a sore subject. We all got burned a bit, lost a bit of money here and there, and a lot of people did. So it was a learning curve, but potentially it could have been great, but it never happened. But what I did learn from that was I learned what it was like to be on a set, what it was like to be in front of a camera, and the terminologies and this and that. Because if you've not had training, you don't know what you're doing. You've literally, I've always learnt as I've earned. You know. So the next time I stood I stood in front of a camera was a movie. I was playing opposite John Cusack. At the time, massive A-lister. He's 6'3". And I'm sat there on this set. We're filming in Serbia, and I've got a wig on and sideburns, a beard. I mean, I looked at him and just thought, I couldn't recognise myself. It was amazing. And I'm sat there thinking, I'm just doing the back to the scene, opposite John Cusack. Opposite me is Brendan Coyle, who's got the job as the barman.
Wow.
And he was in Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Then I find out that Luke Evans, Alice Eve, all these... I mean, Luke Evans is a massive actor now,
That's
I don't know if
huge.
he's got weight. I mean, he's a heavyweight. He's had a few too many pies. I mean, you see him on everything now.
Yeah.
Pam Ferris was in it. Brendan Gleeson was in it.
Blimey.
Kevin McNally. So many people. I couldn't believe it. I looked at the board and then saw me, and I thought, this is my first movie. And I was so excited. And when it came out, I went with my girlfriend, Jess, who's now we're married, and we sat in a theatre, and I watched myself on the big screen, and I was very, very proud.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It was incredible to think that the ex-postman, no training whatsoever, never had a day's training of acting, and I've worked alongside some A-listers. So I patted myself on the back.
Yeah, well done. Deservedly so.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. Anyone can do it.
That's amazing. I mean, we sat on that movie set, and I'm thinking 20 years back, I was standing behind you in my Eric Morecambe suit while you're singing Sound of Music. And here we are.
Exactly.
But up front, that's where you need to be, because it's where you shine the best, mate. And so you've done that. I saw this. I keep seeing you pop up. You see, so I saw you in Blood Brothers on a poster, and then I saw you doing Hot Flush with Leslie Joseph, and then Sue Pollard. So that looked like great. I mean, you're being equalled now, aren't you? You're top of the bill material, and you were when I worked with you, but you're really enjoying your musical and your theatre work, and you've worked your way to the top, and you deserve it. So. The Hot Flush was I never got to see it, mate. But Hot Flush was a comedy, wasn't it?
Oh, Hot Flush was brilliant. We did it. I mean, you mentioned Sue Pollard. We never actually got to do it at Sue Pollard because it collapsed. The tour just didn't come off, which was really disappointing. Anyway, before that, I did it with it was me and Leslie Joseph, and obviously some other girls, some great actors, and me and Leslie we've worked so many times together. We've done Pantos together, and we did Hot Flush. So we've got a very, very big respect for each other. We call each other mother and son. and I love her dearly, and she's just brilliant. She's a master. So, and we've got that mutual respect. So we had a great time. I played about 18 different male characters, from anything from a pervy old vicar to an Aussie barman, and then I came on in a gimp mask and welly boots and a leather thong. It was just, it was brilliant. There was a bit of stand-up in there that I could play with. It was just a brilliant feel-good show. Not just for women, a few men went as well and equally enjoyed it. It was just a brilliant show, and it was a really good vehicle for myself. And I loved it. It was a great show.
You said about snappers being a bit of a sore point. I had around about the same time, 2007. I went back to working with Brucey. I'd done a TV pilot, and it was John Coleshaw was on, Denise Van Outen, and I'd done the most blinding 10-minute set on the show, but it got shelved. And so I know I feel your pain, you know, when something that you think, oh, this is going to be great when it comes out, and it doesn't come out. It's like. And I've got it on tape, this clip, and you look back at it and think this would have gone down so great, and it could have changed a lot of things, you know. So that's the business that we're in, isn't it, Matt? And you kind of you get the knocks, but then you get another door open.
It is, mate, and I don't think people appreciate how tough it can be, you know. And we all put on a brave face. Especially at the moment, I mean, we'll get on to that in a minute, but in this current climate, it is, you know, people turn to us for cheering up, and they expect us, but, you know, us cheer-uppers need cheering up as well, especially now. Definitely. You know, we're always the ones that are asked, oh, could you do this for that person, or this, and I'm always the first to go, yeah, no problem. But at the minute, we're out of work. You know, this is a very, very stressful time, full of anxiety and worry, and, you know, will it come back? You know, will we be able to make a living? And it's just so tough, and the disappointment, the knockbacks, like you say, it happens, and I think it is a real testament of people that get through it. And if you're still performing it by a certain age, I think you've come through the mill, and you've got through an industry that is very, very difficult, and not everybody can handle, especially, mate, the acting side of it. No. The amount of times I've had castings, I mean, literally, I've gone for castings, Game of Thrones, right? And I mean, it could be some of these castings could be life-changing.
Yes.
I mean, you know, I've been waiting 3 weeks. I was up for that show 3 times. You're on hold for 3 weeks. Wow. And you're like, is it a yes or is it a no? If it's no, just let me know. And you're hanging on. And I'm doing exactly that at the minute. I've got a casting for Emmerdale, 2 episodes, really nice part, self-tape, and I'm still waiting. This over a week ago. I'm still waiting. Do they know yet? So you have to put up with that, and and you have to take the rejections and the no's. But in the next breath, something can literally come in. I mean, 3 years ago, I was offered Doctors, the lead role. Didn't have to cast. They asked me to do it. That was lovely.
Nice.
And then from that, I've done EastEnders and Law and Order and Casualty. I went for that. And when you get these roles, it is like a proper exciting. It's like, you know, it's like scoring a goal in a World Cup final. Yeah, definitely. That's how it feels. And also, it could be lucrative. I once did an advert in Germany. I got paid about 37 grand for it. And you just think those are one-offs, and it's like it can be a lottery. Yeah, so it's a tough old game. It really is, but it can be brilliant, and that's what's kept me going. Yeah,
definitely. It's important to keep the face out there, isn't it? Me and Nina don't watch soaps, sadly, but we were watching EastEnders one day, and I said, Nina, rewind the telly now. She said, why? Rewind the telly. Matt Slack is there. That's Matt Slack. She said, no, it's not. It is. That's Matt Slack. And you were standing there, and then you were in more episodes. We were so proud of you, mate. It's so great to see your progress over the years. But one of the biggest things I'm extremely proud of is your pantomime and what you've done with the Birmingham Hippodrome, if not another venue. But Birmingham is your home, really second home, isn't it? And you've worked with so many people there in Panto. You got the Grumbleweeds, Julian Clary, the Crankies, Marty Pellow, Beverly Knight, Paul Zerdin. I've worked with Craig Revel Horwood, and I loved working with Craig. He was directing. So all these people. You're up there again, you know, in the top billing, and it's what does this panto mean to you, Matt?
It's difficult to talk without getting a bit emotional, mate, because especially at the moment. You mentioned Craig Revel. We were due to do a sort of a last minute panto. This Christmas just gone, we tried. Michael Harrison at Qdos, who's done an incredible job trying to get shows on. He managed to get a Palladium on, and they closed down after 4 or 5 performances. And we were there, ready and waiting to go. Craig Revel, it was lovely, isn't it? What a top guy, you know, so generous, so lovely.
Yeah.
He was a breeze to work with. Anyway, it got pulled, so it's quite difficult to talk about at the minute. But what I've achieved at Birmingham Hippodrome after all these years, it sort of made a change. I went there 7 years ago, or 8 years ago. It was a little idea that Michael Harrison said, you know, it was the biggest one in the country. And his plan was just to slip me in, just gently, just introduce me and then build. And it's become huge now. It's such a loyal following. And people, it's very nice feeling when, you know, people come to see you. Yeah. And you alone. I have a lot of people saying, we only come to see you. Whoever else is in it is a bonus. And that's not my arrogance. That's a fact, and I'm proud of that because I put in a heck of a lot of work over the years to bring fresh ideas and keep it fresh every year. You've got to put the work in, and I put the work in all year round, and I'm, you know, now I'm reaping the benefits, like you said before, and to work with so many different people, to be stood alongside, you know, Stephanie Beecham. I did to work with my mate again, Steve McFadden, who had become mates because we've done it so many times. Yeah. I've worked with so many great, Beverly Knight, and these people become equal fans. You know, I find it very humbling and very difficult to understand when these people are going, "But I'm a fan of yours," and you go, "Oh right, okay." And don't get me wrong, I know what I do, I hear it, and I've had some incredible reviews over the years that I think, wow, and you don't believe it all too much because it is what it is, but I believe the audience, mate. And when I come out, and I like the respect of other performers, and when you get that, it's a really good accolade, you know. But when you stand there and you get the love from the audience, that's when I go, I'm doing something right. And when you're making a real difference, and when people really come and their visit to that show every year is like a pilgrimage. Without you doing it, it means so much to them. It means incredible amounts. So that's why I'm devastated. One, it's my job, and obviously, you know, I've got a mortgage. But secondly, I'm really disappointed for the people that I make their Christmas, and you know. I'm gutted for them, and I'm very, very lucky, mate, to be in such a big production in such a beautiful theatre, the Hippodrome. It's a big old place, and it's just full of love and warmth. Everybody there. I miss it.
I understand the emotional attachment to this industry, and especially the Hippodrome. I went to see Keith Harris there probably about 8 years ago. Joan Collins, Julian Clary, Geoffrey Holland, just such an incredible billing. But I went round to see Keith, obviously, and it's just I worked there with Ken Dodd. The venue is just stunning. It's such a lovely place to work. But I was gigging though one December. I think it's 2018. I had a night off in between Butlin's gigs, so I thought, I'm going to see a pantomime. I'm going to stop at Birmingham. So I stopped off at Birmingham Central, parked my car. I thought, I'm going to get there for 2:00 and see the matinee and buy a last-minute ticket. And you were obviously working with Jimmy Osmond at the time. When I got there, the whole theatre was closed down. It was a day off. I think it was Monday or something.
You're joking.
I was gutted. I thought, I'm going to surprise Matt. I'm going to surprise Jimmy, because I've just done 2 years with him in Branson in his theatre.
Yeah.
And then
you came on a Monday. Yeah, Monday's the day off.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just thought, okay, I'm a very spontaneous person, so I turned up. So I didn't see you, didn't see Jimmy, and then obviously a week later the terrible news came with Jimmy. So and you were working. He's a superstar, wasn't he? Just such a great guy.
Do you know what I mean? Going back while you're saying about how many people I've worked alongside with, and that's the joy of each year you get to work with new people, and that's a lot where my material comes from. It depends on who I'm working with and who I can bounce off, and I'll go, let's do this, and we make each other look great. And working with Jimmy was so generous, so complimentary. Hey, buddy, God, you're so funny. Oh, I love working with you. And he was brilliant. You know, you have this. I had this misconception of Jimmy Osmond being this, little shy man. He was amazing, and his portrayal of Hook, his character, he was brilliant, and I loved working with him. And I know he loved working with me. And I felt at the time when he got ill, I felt a bit responsible because I feel like I pushed him into this. We did this routine where he lost his rag with me, and I thought, I hope I haven't pushed him over the edge. And of course, that's just me being paranoid. But when I found out that I had a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning from Michael, the producer, and said, he's not well, he's had a stroke and this and that, and I was devastated. And we were planning on what to do. So there was the stress of the upset of Jimmy alone. That was hard enough. But then we had to think, well, hang on, we've still got a show to do. So then I had to think, right, okay, and I rewrote things. We put the understudy on, made the understudy look really funny, and I just kept saying, you're not Jimmy Osmond, what are you doing with him? How desperate are you to get on? And we made a joke of it, we got through it that way. But behind the scenes, I was absolutely devastated, mate, because I've become really close with Jimmy, and I loved him. I thought he was just a genuine, lovely man that you want these people to, you want to work with people like that. And he was one of the Osmonds, and such a nice, down-to-earth, grounded guy, and it was a real tragedy what to be struck down by what he was hit with, and it was terrible. It was shocking.
At that time, he's left a massive legacy behind, and I know he's resting with his family. I've spoken to his son since, but he really looked after me. I'd done the UK tour with him, and we'd done 2 seasons in the Moon River Theatre. But Jimmy was just such the most amazing host, and he made you one of his brothers. They invite you into their family. They're such wonderful people, and so I understand that, and sort of having to say goodbye to him is a horrible thing. But the show does go on, doesn't it? And Jimmy would understand that. So you had Darren Day in the show after that, didn't you? And
again, mate, and Jimmy would, like you said, he wanted to carry on because he was a pro. Jimmy was a pro. He wouldn't, as we all are. I've never taken a show off. I've had broken vocal cord, nerve damage. I've had ligament damage to my ankle, bad back groin, neck problems.
Wow.
Never taken a show off. I just wouldn't. I'd go on in the wheelchair. I'd go on in crutches. I've done that. You just don't do it. We're from an old school of, now people go, I'm not coming into that. It's like we just get on with it. And that's when you've got to be funny. There's nothing harder trying to be funny when you're feeling absolute crap. But
definitely
with Jimmy, it was just the good thing that came out. One good thing was Darren Day came in, and again Darren Day. I mean, he's just such a lovely bloke, and we became really good mates, close mates. And he came and watched the show. He was blown away by the show. Really complimentary to me, which helps. If you've got someone coming in who's watching, they go, right, I get this. This guy's doing this and that. And I have a big input in the writing, and so I've got a lot of control there. And I was never off in that show. It seemed like I was on all the time. It was a lot of work. And Darren slipped in, and we had pardon the pun, we had a great time. I should have said that.
You're in Panto mode.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we became great mates, and we had such a great time. And off the back of that, he went on the following year to play Smee in the production that went from the Hippodrome to Southampton. So he was very grateful to me, and he did a couple of my routines that I'd written, and he said, do you mind? I went, yeah. Go and do it justice. So that was something that came out of it. I got a new friendship in Darren Day, which is he's a top bloke.
That's amazing, Matt. It really is. It's so good catching up with you, Matt. Just I treasure that season we did. It was just such a great memory back in Babbacombe, and I love seeing your career blossom. And I know you're going to go on to do bigger. bigger things, and you deserve it, mate. So thank you so much.
And likewise, mate. Listen, the pride comes back at you. But I've watched you on Britain's Got Talent, and it's nice when you see people you work with, mates from yesteryear. That it's a small world, and life is very short. And if we can all get on and do well, and I know you've got Nina and the kids, and it's just like it's nice. It's really nice, and even more now, mate. In these times, we've got to cherish it. We really have. It's not all about success. And I've always said, I'll tell you what I've learned over this. It is not about the wanting the destiny. You've got to be hungry in this game. Yeah, you have. But don't worry too much about the destination. Enjoy the journey. Look around, because sometimes it's the journey. I've learned that. It's perspective. It's about enjoying the moments that you're doing. Sometimes it's the preparation, not the actual eating of the feast. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree. Yeah, I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm not reaching for a goal. I'm just enjoying my work and enjoying what I'm doing, and ready to go back to it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So that's what we got to look forward to, and just trying to get a little bit of normality in our lives. But but you, as Matt Slack, who has never slacked, you're a grafter. And we just can't wait to see you on the screen again, and the big screen. It would be amazing. I'm very proud of you, Matt. Thank you so much for being on Eyes and Teeth, buddy.
Thank you, Steve. It's been a pleasure, mate. And like I say, it's been so good to catch up. Really, really, really lovely. And it's much needed. So I hope whoever's listening to this I hope they've enjoyed it as much as I have.
Thank you, buddy. See you in Birmingham.
Yeah, see you there, mate. And don't come on a Monday.
Eyes and Teeth.
Thanks, Matt. What a story. And I've got a feeling he's just getting started. If you want to follow Matt, he's on Facebook and @TheMattSlack on Twitter. Today's comedy quote comes from Bradley Walsh. The times change, and if you don't change with them, you get left behind. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Lola, Larissa and Nina Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth music and jingles are produced and performed by the one and only Mr. Kevin Dean. Tune into Eyes and Teeth Funny for Money next time, when I'll be talking to Basil Fawlty, or as the industry knows him, actor, comedian and artist Peter Piper.